How are y'all?
Fine,
Good.
Mike. How you doing?
Appreciate your time this afternoon. I'm Mike Hart. I'm the chairman, the 2020 chairman for the United Way campaign. We're here this afternoon to ask for your continued support. We appreciate the support that you all have provided in the past. I know y'all are aware of the critical mission and the collective impact that the United Way has in our community. I also know you're aware of the critical nature of the need now during this time of pandemic. So the need is greater than it's ever been. We're hoping that you'll continue to support. Y'all have been gracious with your workplace campaign. I think there's some department heads probably here. We appreciate the support there, but we're asking you collectively and as individual council members to think about us in your discretionary income, and we really need your help.
Well, you do a great job. We appreciate it. We know you where you're at. Okay,
Mike, I got a little thing for you. You know, we have a lot of people come in front of us all the time and ask for money. But with your one-stop shop, how many agencies do we actually get to help?
So Richard and Richard, appreciate your support on our campaign cabinet and through the board, and Clay, appreciate your support with the board as well. You know, we talked about collective impact. And when you think about what the United Way does, then we touch about 1 in every 3 people in the river region on an annual basis, so about 130,000 families across the region. And we support more than 80 programs across more than 40 agencies. So you're right when you talk about a one-stop shop. There's just not another charitable organization that you're going to find that has the impact that we have year in and year out. And that creates the need. I mean, the need is incredible.
Yeah. Well, what I like about yours is these are vetted that actually really need the money. Thank you. Thank you for what you do.
We know where they go. Very good. Thank you.
Yes, thank you guys very much.
Okay.
Thank y'all.
We got you. Okay. On the agenda, Tommy, you want to talk about this first? We're going to carry this over, but go ahead and tell us about it.
This is a rezoning that the Planning Commission put a M1Q designation on it. It qualified it to be restricted to a funeral home and or a crematorium.
Okay. Well, we're going to carry this over. I believe I've been asked to carry it over at least 2 weeks, maybe 4.
Yes.
That'd be good, Mayor?
Yes, sir.
4 or 2?
4.
4, okay. Carrying over 4. All right, we'll do that. And so we'll be talking to you more. Betty, tell us what you're going to do with this money.
You want me to do that or tell you what I'd like to do with it?
Wait to get the mic so you can hear you.
What's the percentage rate?
I'm
Half?
sorry. Hold on just a second. Okay, basically, this is that line of credit that we have with Synovus, okay, for the $10 million. It's time to renew it. It expired on September the 28th. And we're coming before you with this ordinance because some of the terminology has changed due to the climate that we're in right now.
Right.
They require, you know, because they have to put capital up for this, whether we use it or not, that there's an unused balance fee. If you don't use it quarterly, we are paying 0.125% for not drawing down on it, and all the banks are doing that. It's not just them. And, of course, it's thought that the LIBOR rate of calculating interest is going to go away in 21, so they want to put that language in the promissory note. And other than that, it's just they want it because of their reporting requirements now as well. So it's just terminology change, nothing new.
You hadn't had to use it. That's great.
We haven't had to use any of our lines.
I know you haven't. I'm proud for us.
You're proud
Thank
for
you for the
us.
job. Thank you for the job. That's,
So it's
in this time, not use the reserves and this money. That's great.
Yeah. Mr. Bollinger?
yeah. Is there a penalty for not using it now?
If
A fee for not using it?
Yes, 0.125%, which is 0.00125 times whatever, you know, the balance is. And we haven't had to draw on it, and our cash flow projections are saying that we probably won't draw on any of them before the end of the calendar year,
Okay.
which is awesome.
And you said this fee is every quarter, right?
Quarterly. We ask for it quarterly.
And this is the same company we've always used, same?
It's the
loan?
same line of credit. It's just that the promissory note expired on September 28th, and we have to renew it because of their reporting methods now and terminology that is in this new ordinance that was not in the old. And the last one we did, I think, was 2018 for this line of credit.
Any other questions? Thank you, Betty.
Thank you.
Number 3, who knows about that? Change in ordinance?
The
Private investigators?
state now, there is a regulatory board that does this, and the city of Montgomery cannot do it any longer, so we're removing it from our code.
Very good. I knew you would know that. But thank you. Okay, number 4.
Wait, did we say we're removing it?
That's probably,
Or we were taking this off?
Yeah.
Chris, you know about number 4?
Is that where it's fair?
Where it's fair, yeah.
Yes, sir. This is just the typical resolution that allows the mayor to enter into agreements and whatever ALDOT processes are. We used to have a blanket one, right, Brenda? And they kind of have now said, we don't like that. We want to go project by project. And so that's what this would reflect, is our ability to move forward with Wares Ferry Phase 2 paving.
Yeah, been on the ALDOT list for about 3 years. 2 years? 2 to 3 years?
Not quite
Yeah.
that long.
Well, we
But-
just
Feel like
finished-
forever.
I mean, we had one, but it was broken up into 2 and now 3.
Well, we had one and completed it, and then we said, let's do, actually, we called it Phase 2, but now we've broken it into from where we ended at the bypass out to that Froggy Bottom Bridge, and then from Froggy Bottom Bridge will probably take us all the way to the Wares Ferry Road Bridge replacement project that is just past Macklemore.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
those are the 2 that are left. But this is specific to the Phase 2 from the bypass down to the bridge at Froggy Bottom.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Number 5. Betty? You getting some money for us? That's where we got a balanced budget.
No, not yet. This has to do with the lease purchase agreement that we have with Regions Bank. They are the ones that gave us the best, bang for the buck when we put out the proposal, asking for proposals from about 12 banks. And so at the end of the fiscal year, we draw down those funds for everything that we actually purchase. The city
Okay.
cash flows it, and then we get a short-term note with the bank, which is, I think, in the budget about $7 million
Okay.
in '21. So it's nothing new. We do it every year.
Okay, every year. Okay. Thank you. Any questions, Ms. Beeble? Number 6 is withdrawn. Number 7, housekeeping. Number 8, housekeeping. Number 9, housekeeping. Number 10, housekeeping. Pretty well covers the agenda, folks. Anybody got a song you want to sing? Or? Let me just say, something happened today at 11 o'clock. Who shot? Mike, that is not funny. Whatever you did. Is that you?
Somebody's gaveling you down.
Gavel me down? That was an odd gavel. Anyway, at 11 o'clock this morning, Mayor, I've sent you this, but at 11 o'clock this morning, we finally got the deeds recorded on Garrett Coliseum property for the city of Montgomery. So now it's no more in limbo and owned by 4 different groups. It's now city of Montgomery property. So, a lot of relief over that. And I know that Ms. Kay over there has got another opportunity. Anyway, anybody else got anything you want to talk about? Okay. Everybody got tickets for the fair in front of you that I've given you, and from the council. And other than that, I got nothing. So I think we'll just end the meeting now. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh. One other thing we've got to talk about is your resolution you got in front of you on the Come tell us about this.
Yeah, this new one.
All righty. Y'all ready?
Yeah.
I know you guys are super excited to see me.
One more item.
The first item on the agenda, well, there is one resolution, but there are 3 different exhibits. Exhibit A, we held, as I told you guys in the memorandum that we sent out, that we held public meetings over the summer last year to invite the public to comment and tell us how we should use our HUD funds. So these are the results of those meetings through paper surveys as well as online surveys and in-person comments. And the 5-year goals are listed as you see them. Some of them look a little bit confusing. The first one, public facility, other than low to moderate income housing benefit. Those are anything from infrastructure improvements or a public facility that is open to the public during normal business hours that we put our funds into, such as a community center, that type thing. The second one is tied to housing benefit, and an example of that is when we provided funds to the Housing Authority and we used Cdbg funds to institute the infrastructure, the streets, sidewalk, sewer, curb and gutter. The third one is all public service activities that benefit individuals and or their households. Rental units constructed, these would be new units. We have some units that are going up across from Lanier Place specifically for seniors, and that count would come out of that item. Rental units rehabbed, we do not get a lot of applications for rental units rehabbed, but we do have one in our 2020 funding for ACT CDC, where they will rehab a home over on the west side near Lanier Place. He typically stays in the Edie Nixon area. Homeowner housing rehab, those are, that's also in 2020 funding. We have proposed just over $300,000 to help homeowners that qualify low-income housing for their homes to be rehabbed. The tenant-based rental assistance rapid rehousing, that money typically comes from our shelters, where we use those funds to take someone that is homeless and put them into transitional housing, or permanent housing, rather. A homeless person overnight, that total comes from all of our shelters that benefit those coming into the shelters that are homeless. And jobs created and retained, we have that number at 5. Of course, that would involve some economic development over the next 5 years. And then the other HMIS. HMIS is the system that our shelters use, the Homeless Management Information System. So we have to fund the coalition and hands-on River Region for them to basically put all of the folks that they come into contact with into a database and keep up with their whereabouts. So those are the 5-year goals. The next page on Exhibit A is the geographic areas and the priorities that also derive from these surveys. The categories will always be affordable housing, addressing the homelessness population, and the non-housing community development. The non-housing community development typically comes from our Cdbg pot of funds. And then the geographic areas, those typically don't change. The only ones that you do not see there will be from the east side, and that's because they do not have majority low-income areas. We can benefit a household from the east side as long as they qualify with household income. But they were not listed as a geographic area. But we always have citywide that we could say, for instance, Boys and Girls or STEP Foundation that we proposed to fund during 2020. Their beneficiaries can come from anywhere all over the city, and we have to use them as a citywide benefit versus a defined area that's low income. And then our priority needs, infrastructure, homeless services, public facilities, and housing. That pretty much covers everything that we do. So, and then we have Exhibit B. The first page is our proposed funding for Cdbg projects for 2020. Our 2020 year started May 1st due to the gift that we've received from the president, we have been very busy planning the COVID funds as well as our regular allocations. So the first page, as you see, is regular CDBG funds. The second page at the top is our home funds, and as you know, the home funds can only be used for housing activities. And then we have our regular ESG, our emergency shelters, down at the bottom of that page. And then on the following page, this is round 2 of emergency shelter coronavirus funds that we received from HUD, $1.2 million. And those can only be used on shelter activities that respond to prepare for the COVID pandemic. And then our Exhibit C is basically the goals and objectives that we have to prepare and send to HUD. All these documents are due to HUD on Friday, but any project that we have funding into that involves housing, which is mostly our home program, we have to assure HUD that we use those funds and affirmatively further fair housing. If we have a project that we've built with our home funds and one of the tenants or one of the homeowners complain for discrimination, and there are many reasons they can claim to be discriminated against, we basically hold our developers and our nonprofit organizations responsible for reporting that to us, and then we would have to go and investigate and resolve those issues. We normally work with the Central Alabama Fair Housing Center to lend us their testers. We've never had any complaints since I've been here, but we have enlisted them to do some testing when they go into a certain neighborhood and their lenders are steering them out of the neighborhood to go somewhere else where they feel that they may be welcome. So there are a lot of discrimination practices out there right now, and that just basically tells them that we are going to make sure that that gets taken care of. And those are our 3 documents. You have any questions?
You know, I really do. I have one question. I like this. There's some things I did want to see in here I don't see, and then there's some things I did want to see I do see. So it looks really good to me. But when you talked about...
Why don't you pull your mic over?
I'm sorry. When you talked about getting permanent housing for the homeless, I think this is, you know, I don't know how we do that, but we have a lot of homes that's considered blight in the communities, and if we could start taking, you know, they're just out there, if we can use some of those to put, you know, people who are homeless in, it can help 2 issues. We get people in houses, and I don't really know how we do that, but I would love to see us take some of these houses and put families in them instead of tearing them all down. Well, we don't tear them all down, but when they become unsafe, we have to tear them down. But before they get to that place, if we could put people in them, I think it would really help our community. So I don't know how
I agree with you 100%. When federal dollars are involved, it would have to be reviewed on a case-by-case basis, because when you use federal dollars and a structure is so far dilapidated, there's a certain percentage. You know, we have to test for lead, we have to test for asbestos and those type things. But we would have to review it on a case-by-case. I totally agree with what you're saying. But our plan is to not only take them out of homelessness, but to, Desmond and I were just brainstorming not long ago, and our goal is to put them in touch with Trenum to have them go to school, or to put them in touch with jobs, or to help them get jobs, and so on and so forth. But these funds for the rapid rehousing help place them somewhere and will pay their rent for up to 6 months. And now with the COVID rules, it's up to a year, utilities and so on and so forth, to better prepare them to become stable. So we're working a lot of those connections right now. So
we appreciate it.
Great. And thank you for coming to the Crisis Center and lending us your muscle. We appreciate you guys so much for helping us out, and we still have a good ways to go, but we're getting there. And I want to thank you publicly for coming out with Leadership Montgomery and pitching in.
Oh yeah, it was a pleasure and an honor to do that. So
I heard you guys had lots of fun. There will be another time coming up soon.
Oh, it will be.
Any more questions?
Okay, everybody good? Okay. What you got? Monday? Pull over, Mike.
I don't give them funds unless they do that.
That can be required.
Ask them, yeah.
Yeah, you can require those. I mean, if you got any questions about that, you can. I mean, I think I do that.
Mr. President, I also have a ordinance I want to present to the council. I don't have it. I'm gonna have it by the time we start council. It is for the liquor license.
Yeah.
We have that ready. Christopher has done an excellent job in getting that ready. And so it's ready. I was supposed to have it to everybody. We emailed it to everybody. Did everybody get a chance to kind of look it over and see if I know Councilor Mitchell had a few things, or at least one thing he wanted to include, and we did that, and it looked good to me. So I would like for us to present that today to the council. Let's look at that tonight.
Okay. You'll bring it up next meeting?
I got Miss Clark printed off, and I'm gonna get it and bring it back around here so we'll have it.
Very good, very good. Yes, sir.
Have the chambers, so how are we looking towards the business aspect of it? Have we been getting, I know I've been getting a lot of calls about that ordinance. I just want to see.
What, the liquor license law?
Liquor license ordinance.
Yeah, I think you,
They've been getting a lot of calls against it or for it, or? It's been mixed.
I haven't,
at the end of the day, I think this council has, we haven't done our diligence to make sure we have a structure. We're just a grant and deny based off, whatever. And if we can get a structure, it helps us as we go forward with them. And not only does it help us as council, but I think it even helps business owners when they can see, well, the council already got something in place saying if one is 1 block away, then I need to look to get a business 3 blocks away, or what, So I think it'll help business owners to know what we're expecting and what we're looking for, as well as us, so that we can say we have these parameters, the reason why we're, considering or not considering something, versus just because I liked them or I didn't like them, or we have too many, or they're just whatever the reason may be that we grant or we deny. So I think we need it. I think it's beneficial for us as a council to operate in some parameters that are clear and in black and white. So,
Audrey, I know that the state was looking at the same thing, about how many liquor stores you have in a particular area. Mm-hmm. And they were trying to put together something also with the state law enforcement, mm-hmm. because of the density of it. So right. We might want we need to contact them and see what they've done.
Well, I've actually talked to the ABC board, and they were not working particularly on that.
Okay.
They may be working on something similar, but they weren't working on that. And the legal department was very diligent about researching other municipalities and what they have in place that the state has passed and is holding.
That's good enough, then.
It hasn't been overturned. So I think we're using some of the same parameters as other municipalities. So I think we're good. I think this is good.
Sounds good. Okay.
But I'm gonna get it
Anybody
and
else?
pass it out.
Rhonda?
We have fairness coming up very soon, and I just want to see, I think the chief's not here, what we have for those kids. That's, my biggest concern is not inside effect. My biggest concern is that Hardee's right there, that Burger King right there. I just want to make sure that we do have something in place for those kids once that fair closes and they're out there for hours. That's my biggest concern. I feel safe about the inside because I have talked to Sheriff Cunningham, and I just want to make sure that we have something in place to make sure those kids are safe as unsupervised.
Councilman Mitchell, let me ask the question. At what point does this go back to the parents on this issue? Because if we're asking law enforcement to police both inside and outside, I don't know if that's feasible for us to do. I think at some point, if we're concerned about where that where this behavior is coming from for minors, then we have to put some of that on the parents. And I think at the same point, if they're not minors, then we have to, be a little bit more stringent in terms of enforcing the loitering laws and other laws that are already on the books for those that may be over the age of 18. But I'm specifically talking about, I guess, the minors right now.
So really, we don't have anything, we're not holding our parents accountable on any level.
Yeah.
When it comes to meeting with children. We can file a petition, but that petition is just a status. So when those parents go to court, they go to juvenile court. So juvenile court has no jurisdiction over adults. So they're getting charged maybe court costs and a slap on the wrist for their children not going to school, not supposed to be where they're. So it's no accountability on the parents. That's why the parents are so eager to drop kids off. And I've been working with the judges out at juvenile court, trying to legislate, trying to change something so we can make these parents accountable. And right now we just don't have anything there that's in place to hold them accountable. Most times when you take a child to juvenile court, they're going to tell you they won't have any room. So they're going to be right back home before you can even get them out there. When I sign a petition, it's usually a year before those kids go back. And most times those kids that I sign a petition on are either dead, murdering somebody, breaking into somebody's house before they even go in front of those judges. So accountability is hard to do right now.
I know if I may just interject in there, I remember one time we had the district attorney come down and speak with us about that, and it was preceded this council and this mayor. But I think that's what we may need to do, Oronde, if that's the issue. We need to get the district attorney and maybe just talk with them about, because there are some things on the book, and the juvenile court judges are the same judges that hear circuit court, family court issues. So it's nothing for them to transfer a case and get it if they need to bring them in or get some kind of stricter, punishment or something on them. They can do that. And so maybe if we talk with the district attorney about pursuing that a little more, because I do think there are laws on the books that could help us in this, but I just think that it's not being a priority up until this point. But I think if that's something you want to do, I think even if it's a one-on-one, if it's not this council that bring them down, just have that conversation. I think we can begin to talk about how can we implement all the laws that we have on the book to kind of hold some parents accountable. We talked about that though.
Mayor, my one concern is what we do with the kids at night. We go out, they may be at Rock and Jump or down the street further to the old Virginia College or anywhere that there's a large parking lot that's out there, but we end up typically dispersing 30 or 40 of them, just dispersing them. And I think somewhere, if we're going to get on this, if we just have their parents come, hold them till their parents came. I don't care if it's 5 out of the first 30, but if we hold them, I think we start to send a message out that this is not something we're going to tolerate as we go forward. I worry about them in that group like that.
Yeah, listen, I'm not gonna scream angelic innocence here. I remember hanging out at Godfather's Pizza and the Kmart and over on Atlanta Highway and Magic Mart over on Carter Hill Road. So I understand that aspect of it, whether it was Looney's or Skate Haven or the Eastdale Mall movie cinemas that sold out for Empire Strikes Back or whatever the movie was at the time. I remember, that. I'm not really, getting to the point of teens, congregate. I understand that's going to happen. I think what my concern is where there are issues that may break out and happen at those places of business and establishment, what happens then, and how much can we consistently ask for law enforcement to be both inside, in this case, the fair, and outside the fair. And I don't have the answer. I'm just kind of throwing out some different scenarios of what do we do and how do we approach it, because if we're having this issue, during this time when people should be kind of less social, if you will, should be staying at home as much as possible, then I think we need to make sure we're preparing for when things do fully open back up. How will this community look then, and how will the businesses respond? at that time. So, you know, we may have some time right now out, you know, except for the fair and maybe a couple of other major events, and we may not. But it's just one of those things I think that we have to work with the community, work with our law enforcement, and then make sure from our standpoint, we are not adding to things that are already there, but just not being enforced. That's my spiel.
Okay. We don't have a quorum anymore, so the meeting's adjourned.